This is the King of the Jews. Isn't it interesting that the first time Jesus was named king happened on the cross, when his life was declared to be a failure, where his mission was all in shambles. All he stood for, all he preached was finished. He was being executed. He was the loser. And yet at that very moment, there is a sign above his head that declares him to be the king. From that first good thief hanging on the cross next to Jesus, who says, "Jesus, remember me when you come to your kingdom," the generations of Christians would look at Jesus as a new kind of a king. They would identify themselves as followers of a new kind of a kingdom. You see, the kings and the emperors that they were familiar with, they were all tyrants. The power was based on who has more army, who can get more taxes, who can police their citizens in a stricter, more perfect way. The emperors of Rome, their power was relying entirely on the legions and the taxing system. But Christians said, our king will not be like this. We believe that there is a better way of being society. There is a better way of being human family. A way that is not based on power, but on love. A kingdom that will not rely on legions or police, but on mutual respect and justice. And for 2,000 years, we Christians have been trying to do better, to be a better society, to be a better kingdom, to be a better church. Some of you may know that last year, in August, I became a citizen of this country. And before I took my oath, I had to study a booklet about the history of the USA. As I was reading about Washington and Lafayette and Hamilton, I realized that these founding fathers have come with a better idea of doing things that they knew and remembered from England or France. They said, we can do better than people over there. We can organize ourselves in a more fair and just way. We can build a country without a king. We can build a country that will be governed by us all and for us all. This is why we call it the American experiment. Because we are truly experimenting with this idea that we can do better, that we don't have to repeat the old mistakes of kingdoms back in Europe or somewhere else. At the very heart of American experiment with democracy is the idea that we can do better, that there is a better way of being society, that there is a better way of being a community of people organized together. I don't know if you believe in a glass half full or glass half empty. Whether you are an optimist or a pessimist, one fact is simple: there is room for more vodka in your glass. If it's half empty or half full, it doesn't matter. Pour more spirit in that glass. And this is what Christ the King is about. We recognize that there is room for improvement in our life, that we can improve our ways of being church, that we can improve our ways of being a country, that this experiment is not finished. When I was studying for my citizenship exam, I learned that there are 26 amendments to the US Constitution. We have been experimenting and amending our experiment over and over again. And you know what? Some of the amendments were really dumb, like the prohibition, right? We had to go back and amend the amendment because we said, nah, it wasn't a good idea. This is the beauty of being a believer, that you look at your glass and you say, you know what? It can be better. We can do things in a different way. We can do things in a fresh way. After all, we have a king who is unlike any other king. His kingdom is not based on the rule of power, on the rule of the jungle, on the survival of the fittest. The kingdom to which we all belong is still growing. The experiment of Christianity is still going on. Never give up trying to find room for improvement in your personal life, in your family life, in the life of our country, in the life of our church. We can do better. Amen.